Hello, I'm Steve from Kakapo Systems, and thanks for joining. In this presentation, we're going to be introducing SMS Queues for BroadSoft. So more specifically, what we mean by that is SMS media streams for the Unity Contact Center solution. So I think most people on this call are familiar with what I'm talking about, but for anybody this is the first time in terms of looking at the Unity Contact Center, it's an omnichannel offering where you can overlay different media streams on top of your BroadSoft solution. So by media streams, I mean web chat, callback, email queues, Twitter queues. And today, we're going to show the SMS queues that we've got. So just in terms of introducing the agenda for what we're going to cover, firstly, we're going to recap our existing SMS solution, which is, we call it a point-to-point solution. So what I mean by that is that an existing Unity user can have an SMS number assigned to them as a user, and then they can engage with remote numbers, third parties, to have SMS conversations. We've had that for a few months. We're going to touch on that in as much as the media streams, so the SMS queues, from a contact center point of view, it's built on the same functionality. So it's just worth recapping that because a lot of the functionality is common. Then we're going to show you the media streams. Like I say, we're going to be starting off with a live demo to show you how this all works. So we're going to be taking some SMS incoming into the contact center and seeing how the distribution options, etc., can work. So we're going to show you that live. We're going to touch a little bit just on the integration. We're not going to have a deep dive. It's not a technical call. You'll see at the top the logos, the CPaaS providers that we're integrating with at the moment. Telesax, Nexmo, and Twilio, so you've got some options there. We're going to show you in the Unity portal side, so in our cloud, actually how this works, so you can understand really the simplicity of how you can spin this up. And then finally, we're going to build a new media stream, which is going to be SMS. I'm going to build a US one, so we're going to build the whole thing live from start to finish, so you can really visualize actually what's involved, and then you're welcome to start sending some SMS messages in. That's really the crux of what we want to show today, but just to show a little bit more on this, a couple of things that are worth pointing out really before I flip across to the live demo where I'm going to show you, like I say, first off, the sort of point-to-point, party-to-party SMS. There's been, frankly, a lot of problems, I think, with, there's been some difficulties for the service providers in terms of deploying some of the SMS options in as much as some of the functionality perhaps has been a little bit limited and you're having to spoof XMPP user accounts and things like that to make it work. Our model here is just trying to keep the whole thing simple and trying to map everything against the BroadSoft user. So you already have the BroadSoft user account, which of course is what Unity already uses to authenticate, and we're extending that out to the SMS as well. So firstly, the SMS that we're talking about is a bolt-on to any Windows variant, so we're talking agent, supervisor, reception, and desktop. So it's not available in the web apps at the moment. And I think what I was just alluding to a moment ago is being able to make it easy for the user really to be able to send these messages out. So I'm going to show you this live in just a moment, but you can SMS from any of the BroadSoft directories, the CRMs you're connected to, or you can just dial an SMS randomly. And you can also have multiple numbers. So I think this might be a bit more of a specific use case, but if you do want to have multiple numbers, so for example, if you want to have a US SMS number and a UK SMS number, we can do that. And I might actually show you that. I have a UK assigned to myself as a user. I have a UK number now, but I might actually add an SMS for the US as well. This is a key point really, that you can send attachments, so you can send PDFs and things like that. So what it means is that we have an attachment server, so if the agent wants to, or the user wants to send a PDF out, the recipient receives that as a link, and then they can basically open it on their device. So we'll show you that live as well. We're also, anybody that's familiar with our contact center as it is now, this is an extension of the same point. So we're integrating with a lot of the leading CRMs, so Salesforce, Dynamics. Really all this means is that For both point-to-point and for the contact center, you can automatically journal a log of that SMS transaction within the CRM itself. And I mentioned this point before, there's no separate account creation. Basically, there's no hoops you have to jump through, there's no hurdles and backflips. You can spin this up really easily. That's the third point I'm going to come on to. I'm going to toggle across after the demo just to show you the Unity portal, just to show you the simplicity of how to set this whole thing up. And then just the last slide is just covering a couple of points on the contact center itself. To anybody that's familiar with the Unity contact center now, like I said before, it has email, Twitter queues, web chat, stuff like that. This is an extension of exactly the same concept. So what we have here is that an agent can dynamically multitask any types of incoming media. So that's obviously BroadSoft calls or BroadSoft ACD calls, emails, web chats, everything else, all within the same client. So it's just a single interface, and then they don't get bombarded with these things. There's logic in terms of the routing that clearly if they're on the phone, they don't get delivered SMS unless you want them to. We're not going to go into that in enormous detail, to be honest, but there's a lot of routing algorithms under the hood to sort of take care of whatever the customer's requirement is. So non-text media, we've mentioned that, so you can send PDFs. Clearly for a business environment, which is what we're talking about here, PDFs is really the key media. And like all the other contact center offerings for Unity, there's a lot of profiling and drilling into, you can drill into all the reporting, and the agent can backtrack and find all the previous conversations. One thing that you are going to see live in the demo is that we're also able to join together non-SMS conversations. So if an SMS comes in and an agent replies to it, then the whole SMS conversation can be reconstructed from the same remote party number. So for example, if the agent says, how much is a bag of bolts, and the remote party says how much is a bag of bolts, and the agent says $5, then they reply maybe a week later, and it's picked up by a different agent, and they say, hey, I want to buy 3 bags of them then. Well, the whole conversation is reconstructed based on that remote party ID. That also extends out into seeing other contacts that's come in. So for example, if they've requested a callback on that mobile number, if they've started a web chat, if they send an email, anything like that, and we're going to show you this in just a moment, the agent's actually got a full picture of all those previous transactions and conversations. As I mentioned, it integrates with the leading CRMs, so that means a couple of things. I've already spoken about the journaling, but it also means when the call is first delivered to the agent, they can see straight away that the call is a Salesforce lead or a Dynamics lead or whatever the case may be, and supervisors, which we're not looking at in this particular call, but they can also see all the calls in queue, and they can see that clearly the fourth SMS in queue is a Salesforce lead, and then prioritize it, etc. Right, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to build one live, and then you guys are welcome to send some SMS in. So anybody in the US certainly can. So with that, let me just toggle across here. So this is, as I say, this is a regular Unity agent. So I have a contact center license assigned. What I'm going to do is, let me just show you actually what I'm going to do here. And if I toggle across to the Unity portal, if I look at the contact center, I'm not going to go through all of these screens, to be honest. These dashboards, for anybody that's familiar with the solution, are new but not released because we're still ironing out a couple of points. But where I am here is I'm logged into the Unity portal and I'm at my contact center level. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to send an SMS in to one of the queues that I have here, which is Ross and Zara Fashions, which, as you can see here, I'm joined to. So what I will do is, now I'm available. Yeah, I'm ready to go. So I'm ready to take an SMS in. Sorry, we're just sending one in. Oh, there we go. Awesome. So this is how it works basically. You can see that I'm on a call in this case, but the default behavior is that if the agent is on a call, they won't receive any other media, SMS or otherwise. But what I'm going to do is it's an SMS that's come in. It's coming from the remote party. It's coming to this queue in this media stream. It's unreserved. I'm going to pick it up. So there we are. I've answered it. Now what I'm seeing here, this is just what I was talking about a moment ago. Based on this being the unique identifier, this mobile number, I'm now seeing web chats, and I'm also seeing, as you can see, SMS and stuff like that. And there's no emails, but basically I can drill into any of these conversations. I can open this. I can open this link to this transcription here. So this is a pretty brief conversation. So the agent's got all of this right in front of them. One of the things I am seeing here is I've got a this is an automatic reply. So what's happened here is you can set up something during business hours or outside business hours, saying thanks for sending us a text. We'll get back to you within 4 hours or whatever's appropriate. Let's just reply, hi there. So what we're going to see in just a moment, there's the delivery receipt. So this is coming back from the CPaaS provider so that the agent knows that this has actually been sent successfully. And what we have also is, if I go to resources here, I can send a, that's fantastic, the reply. Now I can send them a, there we are. So what I've done is I've just sent them a PDF. The PDF has been delivered, so the remote party has now picked up that as a link. And that's how the SMS solution works. So that's the contact center. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close that. You can also put in canned replies in as much as if you wanted a shortcut saying, thanks for contacting us today. How are you? Etc. My name's Steve. How can I help? You can load all of those as canned replies. Exactly the same for SMS as you can for all the other media streams. So what I'm going to do is, that's the SMS media streams. What I was just going to touch on quickly is the point-to-point. So one of the things is that I can, let me just try and message somebody. These are my BroadWorks directory entries. So if I wanted to message Jenna, for example, I can just go messaging, send mobile message. So this is the previous conversation we've had. So again, I've got a delivery receipt. This has been pushed out. You can actually see back up what I was just about to send an image, and there's probably a PDF up here somewhere as well. So what I can do is I can dock that now into the messaging panel. So this is the same messaging panel where I would use for anybody else that's been using Unity. This is my docked IM panel basically. So what I can do is, so Jen's replied, that's awesome, that's great. And then I can now add an attachment, and if I wanted to add in, for example, this monkey, there we are, there's the monkey, and again, like we said, I think the key business cases here is PDF, so we can add PDFs in, which pushes a link out to Jen. So that's sending an SMS from the BroadWorks user directory. I can do the same thing from the CRM. Natalie Main. So if I just look at Natalie, I can send her a mobile message. So you don't have to go into Salesforce or whatever it is. You can just send a message directly from it's the same number, it's the same user, of course, so that's why it's reconstructed the same conversation. There we go. So I can send a message to Natalie that way, and the last thing I can do is I can just free text. So if I wanted to free text a number, go SMS. Oh, there we are, a couple of cute kids. Hello. There we go. So I think, I suppose what we're trying to say with the point-to-point SMS is that it's pretty easy for the user to be able to, anywhere that they've got a contact, anywhere that there's a number that's entered into a mobile field, so in the BroadWorks user directory, of course, if there's a number in the mobile field or in the CRM, if there's a number in the mobile field, all of those become SMS-able numbers, basically. Okay, excellent. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to build a media stream from scratch. So we're going to kick one right off. And I'm going to just jump into Twilio here and buy a new number. Buy a number. Okay, so let me just do a UK number. I want an SMS number. I'm going to search now. Assuming this will come up straight away. So here we go. I'm going to take this number here. I'm going to buy it. what is this number? 7723479996. 7723479996. Let's buy that number. Okay, great. So now we've got the number. What I'm going to do is go back into the Unity portal, back into the contact center setup. I'm going to use an existing queue. That's not saving me an enormous amount of time. I'm going to use Ross and Zara fashion again. If I just look at the profile of the queue, if you did have to set it up, there's not a lot to it. It's the time zone. It's can conversations be transferred, escalated, can agents leave, stuff like that. So by using this queue, I'm not cutting a lot of corners. It's just really for simplicity. Let me go back into media streams. These are the media streams I've already got set up. I'm going to add a new one. It's an SMS. And I'm going to call it webinar sales. Anybody in the UK that's on this call, by the way, you're welcome to message in. Can the conversation be transferred? Yep, I'd like that. Can it be escalated? We'll just leave that off for the minute. It's always online. Use last agent routing if available. Yes, let's do that. We can also reopen conversation on reply. So it does mean that if a text message, like I mentioned before in my hypothetical use case, if somebody says, how much is a bag of spuds? And they say it's $3, and then they reply back a week later saying, I want to buy 3 bags. What happens here is that the agent that receives the second or any subsequent SMS conversation basically gets backfilled the whole previous thread. So I'm not going to worry about that at this moment, but that's what that does. So that again, because SMS, much like Twitter and even email, it's not a real-time conversation. So we're trying to mitigate against the agent not getting the full picture of the previous conversation. So the phone number, let's get this started here. The phone number is 7723479996. Okay, it's not with Nextmo, it's with Twilio. This is the initial reply that I mentioned before. So much like an email comes in, you can have an initial reply. I'm not going to bother about that right now. I'm going to load this up. I'm going to add this media stream. We're now live. Okay, we're now connected. And it was webinar sales. So what we're going to do is I need to create a routing profile, a routing phase. It's the first thing I need to do is like which agents are going to get this. So let me just go and create one here. I'm going to call it phase 1. Doesn't really matter what it's called, to be honest, too much. And I'm going to say I'm going to have it ringing for 300 seconds on all these people. And let me just add only myself in really quick to make this go quickly. So these users on the left here are all the BroadSoft user IDs that have a Unity Contact Center agent assigned. And as you'll see, we've spoken about this before when we've been building media streams, but the routing profile here, circular, longicidal, simultaneous, is the same as what you're used to building your voice environments. And in terms of the overflows is exactly the same. If I had created another phase and I had called it phase 2, for example, I could then have these guys in it, and then I could include the agents in the previous phase. It's very straightforward to build this out. It's very familiar to anybody that's used to the BroadSoft environment. Let me add this phase now. That's it. We're set up and we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to restart Unity because I've just added another media stream, so I'm just want to make sure I pick that up. And then Jen, if you're able to, or anybody actually for that matter that's in the UK, because you can take multiple conversations, and you don't have to take one web chat at a time. You can take well, it's up to your customer how many you can take, but I think I've set this up for about 6 at once. So if you want me to show you that number again, if I go back here, webinar sales, here we are. So the number is that number there. So let me know if you can see that. Okay, looks like somebody sent one. Oh, there we are. We have a customer straight away. See, look at that. So we've just literally in 30 seconds brought that Twilio number. Here we go. It's coming into webinar sales. It's unreserved. It's coming from this remote party ID, whoever that is. I've got no idea. Hi there. Greetings from Newbury. That's awesome. Still not sure who that is, but listen. Let's send you a brochure. Let's send you a picture of an ice cream. There we go. Richard. Hello, Richard. So we're just going to minimize this. We're going to close it down. We can keep several up. We've got Jen's come in. So we can take that one. We've had a bit of previous conversations with this customer here. As you can see, you can help returning an item. No chance. So as you can see, you can manage multiple chat conversations here. We've had another one. I don't know who that number is either. And see, I'm getting these delivery receipts here. I haven't put any. I've got some resources, but I haven't got any canned replies. So what I can do is back in the Unity portal here, I can go back into webinar sales where I was. I can go back into reply repository, and this is where you can add in replies. So I can say hi, and so that's the name that I would see. Hi there, and you can customize this in case you're not familiar with the other media streams we have. I can just right click this to say hi there, or I can left click it to say hi there, Richard in Newbury, where I'm typing Richard in Newbury. So I can add all these things in, and you can also add in, of course, the resource repository. So this is where you can add in. There's one here, but I can add in various PDFs and everything else. So maybe if it's webinar sales, I'm adding in PDFs that are only relevant to the webinar and stuff like that. But what I'm trying to show you guys there is that. So we've got a couple of replies here from these guys. It's really easy to build this, to be honest. So what I'm going to do, appreciate that, guys. All this, appreciate that. So what I'm going to do is just leave that for a moment. What I am going to do is just jump in quickly because I wanted to show you at this sort of high level, at the portal level, really what's required to make this work. We're not providing the SMS gateway capability ourselves. As I mentioned, we're running with those three CPaaS providers, which are Twilio, Nextmo, and Telestacks. If I go back up here to this is in the Unity portal. This is for the service providers at their level, basically. This is where you can put in which CPaaS platform you're using. Typically, you would only be using one. A lot of customers. Look at that. Oh, we got a Salesforce contact. So this is what I was saying about Salesforce. This one's come in. This is actually a Salesforce contact. So I can, I can answer it. So let's pick it up and reserve it. And now I can say hi, and we can have a chat. But what I can also do is I can go add CRM log entry. So what it's going to do is it's going to automatically push a log of this conversation, whatever we talk about, any attachments, everything else is going to get pushed into the CRM, Salesforce in this example. But instead of saying it was an SMS conversation with Steve Tutt being myself, the agent, so in the CRM you can see which agent took it, I'm going to say, I don't know, this is fun or something. So this is fun, and I'm going to close the log entry, which means it's going to be a history item in Salesforce rather than an open item. And I can do that, and then I can close this down. Who is this? This is Lizzie Barnes. So now if I go back into Lizzie Barnes, there we are. She's in Salesforce. So if I look her up quick, now we closed that item, so it's going to be a history event. There it is, there, the 6th of October. So if I open this one up, this is fun. So there's the entry we just put in, and this is a transcript. And of course, like I say, there was no attachments in this particular one. But if there was, then the attachments would be here as well as as links as well. So that's great. And so listen, it's a little bit of a circular conversation, but back to the point I was just making before that one got delivered. So what's required here is at the service provider level, we are mapping really the account key and the token. So these are the credentials to authenticate the Unity cloud platform with the CPaaS account effectively. Once that's all that needs to be done really, and then after that, as you just saw in our Twilio demo, any number that's available on the CPaaS platform, anything provisioned within the Unity portal basically pushes back to that platform, and that's how that mapping is done. So that's great. The other thing I was just going to touch on, coming back to the point-to-point SMS, is if I look up a user in this portal here, I'm going to look up myself. Now what we've got here is, so this is at the user level, okay, and so this is where you can add the user number. So this is not required for the SMS media streams. You don't need the user to have an SMS number if they're going to be an agent. You only need one number, and that's configured, like I say, at the media stream level. But if you do want to have the point-to-point, so the ability for this person to be able to send an SMS to Jenna or whatever the case may be, to make that work, you need to assign an SMS number to the user here, basically, in the Unity portal. So it's just a question of, as you can see, I've got one assigned here, but it's just a question of assign number, choose the provider, and then the friendly name is just if you wanted to have US number, UK number, Germany number, if you did have multiple numbers. That's how it's literally that simple. You would add the number, and then it would push it back, and it would basically provision the SMS number against this user. That largely, in a sort of a roundabout fashion, I've got to be honest, a bit more roundabout than was planned, but I think that covers really what we're trying to show. I think the key message from this call is we've got an SMS capability that you can deploy really quickly, basically from a point-to-point solution, and also for the SMS. The SMS dovetails 100% with all of the other media stream options we've got in Unity. So if you're familiar with the Unity Contact Center at all, or your customers are, and perhaps they've taken a web chat from you, and then over time they go, tell you what, maybe we want to have sales@customer.com, we want to get the email brought in, then they want to bring an SMS in. You're not having to go out and trying to stitch together a solution with a whole lot of vendors. The whole thing is in skin within a Unity Contact Center, and it all works pretty much seamlessly, I think. And so that's the key message I think we wanted to cover today. If you have any questions, please let us know now. We'll try and pick them up. Questions. Can you send images in text-only bundle? Yes, 100% you can. That's what we've done. In fact, if I go into activity logs, if I go into conversations and find one, where have I sent it? Well, I probably sent an image here somewhere. No, not there. Yep, you have. Sorry, without all this clicking around. Let's click the same one. Yes is the answer. You can send images. I haven't sent any. Will it work with bandwidth.com? Yes. Yes, I think if whoever's asking that question, if you want to reach out to us offline, but yes, I think that's a TeleStacks question, and we're working with a new TeleStacks API. So I'm sorry, I can't go into that in too much detail at the moment, but yes is the question. Can I read previous SMS transcripts? 100%. The agent's got two ways of doing them. One of them I just opened it up, whereby the agent can see the last 30 conversations in here. This is not just SMS. This is email. It's everything really. It's all the omnichannel conversations. So there's an email here. I can open an email. So yes, the agent can absolutely drill into them. There we are. There's an attachment. So that's what an attachment will look like from the transcript in in Salesforce or Dynamics or whatever. And this one here, if I open it up, it looks like it's a PDF basically. So yes, you can absolutely do transcripts. The other thing that I can't show you, well, I could show you in a moment, but I'm running this as a Unity agent. If I toggle this across a Unity supervisor, then you can also run the reports, which will show you can drill into every transcript you've ever had, basically. So pretty much like what I'm seeing here at this agent level. If a customer, for example, if a customer rings up and says, "Listen, I sent you guys an order on an email. I think 2 weeks ago. I don't know where I sent it, but I sent you an email 2 weeks ago, and then a week later I followed up with an SMS." You can drill into that all of those touch points basically. So you can find out just by searching the remote party. You can find the SMS and the email. We can certainly show you that. We can show that afterwards as well. Yes, I think that's most of the questions. If there's anything else, guys, some of them are repeating, but by all means, there's a few other questions that are a bit more technical, so please reach out to us offline and we can certainly pick those up. But we're really excited about this product. it's absolutely ready to go, and I think everybody appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.